a big story last night during the news about a pastor making some rather acerbic comments.
Yeah. So with this one, I did a little something different. You know, in the intro, it's like sometimes I'm funny, sometimes I'm serious. Well, I think with this story, it's pretty serious, and I kind of take a look at this pastor who came to Guam, and it started driving around seeing these miracle healing signs, and I kind of got curious, so I researched the guy, and it turns out he was pretty controversial, and I don't think anyone on Guam really knew just how controversial he was, and he's been coming here for 25 years, so in the same way that the Catholic Church came out hard against gay marriage, having seen and researched what this pastor was talking about, and everywhere he's been, I kind of really wanted to shine a little more light on it.
And it was also really interesting when we were watching your piece last night, which you can find right now on our YouTube channel, when you interviewed members of Guam's LGBTQ Thank You community. They could have very easily gone, fought fire with fire, but they were very generous. They were very accommodating, of their comments, and they said, there's nothing wrong. We don't feel as if we're miserable, to use his words, and everything like that. They said we're perfectly happy.
Yeah, we're so happy, that were their words. Very happy.
Yeah, there you go.
And so I thought that was interesting, because you would expect the reaction from them to be a reaction that you get from someone who preaches about Jesus. You know what I mean? So it's almost as if they switched roles there, with the pastor coming out hard and saying that very judgmental things about people's lifestyle, and then you had the members of the gay community saying that, hey, no, man, if that's his opinion, that's his opinion, and basically they were like, who are we to judge?
Okay, now I've got a question for you, and there's an entire new generation that are discovering your work right now, not just with the Malafunkshun show, but even what you did on radio. You were Mr. Funny Man. You actually started doing sports and hard news 25 odd years ago, and then you've had a bunch of different career pivots and everything like that. Yeah. When you approach these topics, and people know you love Guam with your charitable work, that you do around the island, what hat do you wear when you say, I'm going to approach a story about, civil rights, or about the homelessness problem on Guam, or you did a piece in a previous episode about the people who are soliciting on the sides of the street.
Yeah.
How do you attack that?
I just attack it from the angle where if I feel like it's something I want people to know about, or that they should know about, or an issue that I feel like I want to put on the table and let people kind of judge for themselves. That's the way I approach it. And all the things that I've done, I've always kind of had it in my back pocket to get this, the story out there, or just to get the issue out there. When I was doing comedy and satire, I'd talk about an issue and try and make it funny, but at the end of the day, I was just trying to give that issue and my feelings on it a little more exposure. So it's the same thing. Like, a lot of times people watch these serious pieces and they're waiting for a joke, and I try and get a little humor in there, but at the same time, it's like these are issues I feel that for whatever reason aren't getting enough light of day. So
I've always felt that makes it even more impactful, because it's like you keep waiting for the punchline to drop, and it's like, oh wow, that was a really serious issue, and if he's not laughing at it,
right,
then
what's wrong with him? He didn't laugh.
Yeah. Okay. So what else have you got in this episode?
Well, we kind of take a little closer look at the state of the island address. Not too close, you know what I mean? The piece that I did on the pastor, I also look at some different things going on with the Catholic Church. I mean, with the power struggle with the neo-catecumenial way and the sex abuse scandals. I interviewed a priest who was, pretty blunt in saying that he thinks the heyday of the Catholic Church on Guam is, over and done. He says that, they're never going to see the big numbers again, and I thought that was more of an eye-opener than some of the pastor's comments. So there's a lot of different angles to this story I did on this faith healing. So I would like people to kind of take a look at that, and especially during the Lenten season. I mean, this time of year you have a lot of people who are, I guess, practicing Catholics, because it's hard to be a perfect Catholic, so we're always practicing. I think it's a good time for people to kind of reflect inward, and hopefully this piece, which I call Healing the Faith, will get people to do that.
All right. Well, of course, it is Friday today, so hopefully no one's eating meat.
Fishy Friday.
There you go. Okay. So, as the audience continues to build for the show, and as you, continue to do these pieces and really get a lot of momentum behind it, I'm sure you get feedback from the community on Facebook and on Instagram and everything. Yeah. People asking you can you shine light on this particular issue, or this is important to me? Well, what's that like, and what have you gotten?
It's pretty interesting, because in all the years I've been doing this, when I was on the radio, even with sports, I always get people who and I really feel like, you know, I try and be accessible, and I get people who are like, hey, can you talk about this when I was on the radio? And now I get people who are like, hey, can you do something on this? But I think the best feedback is, you know, I mean, like you said, I do different pivots and throughout, you know, all these years and stuff. And I feel like every time I switch my game up, I want people to, you know, to, of course, support me. So when I go out there, people are always giving me positive feedback, like, hey, I love the show. Hey, I love what you do with the homeless thing. And, you know, that just kind of gets me going.
What are your favorite topics to report on?
I like social issues, man. You know, I've always kind of been like social, political, and especially in election year, I think that, you know, the candidates, you know, politicians, they kind of been getting off easy since I haven't had a, you know, a regular platform. You know, with radio, it was like daily, just going in on people. And now I feel like with this new format that I'm tackling, it allows me to get closer and more in depth. You know what I mean? Maybe not as frequent, but I definitely want to shine some light on some of these politicians this year.
Well, we'll just talk from like final question and everything. Now that we're actually putting these shows out, you know, over digital media and everything like that, you're reaching 10 times the number of people you would have been able to reach before in a week, and you get that now in an hour and everything like that. And you're old school media because you've done print, you've done radio, you've done TV, and now you're doing interactive and everything like that. What's that like as a content creator to work in this new platform? It's
crazy, man. I mean, you know, fortunately, I came up in a time where the technology advanced. It seems like overnight there was always something new. When I first came out on the radio, it was like, you know, CDs. Then it went from CDs to MP3s, and then, you know, it went from you know, MySpace to Facebook to Twitter to YouTube, and so it's always a challenge for, you know, all of us in the media business to kind of constantly evolve. And I think the most difficult part is kind of, you know, tailor making your content to suit that new, not just new audience, but new venue and new, you know, platforms. Like, it's one thing audio just doesn't cut it anymore. And, you know, I cut my teeth doing audio, and now I find that, you know, that's not good enough for people. They want video, they want, you know, they want everything interactive. So I think we're at a good place here at KUAM for, you know, just to get the reach out there.
And Guamanian the world over, appreciate your work. So thank you, my friend.
Thank you, man.
All right, look forward to seeing episode 9, and that's going to be this Sunday on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page at 10 a.m. You can actually watch it and watch the broadcast premiere that night at 7 p.m. All right. Some people might say he's got career schizophrenia. We like to think he's just a really, really talented guy who brings his A game every single day.
Thanks,
so
man.
Make sure to tune in Sunday. We're back after this.